Campbell.
And I'm Ron Jackson.
Cerebral conversations on disability liberation and integration. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cerebral Conversations, episode 24. This is Cerebral Conversations, conversations on disability liberation and integration. I'm CJ Campbell.
And I'm Ron Jackson.
Ron, let's get
Cerebral.
boom. Week. Unveil it to me.
Week consisted of Halloween parties and peoples.
And how were these Halloween parties and peoples?
The Halloween party was awesome. There was enough sugar to feed 3 Arby's. I made a queso dip.
You made a queso dip?
Which is oxymoronic because, as you know, I hate cheese.
And as you know, cheese is like my favorite thing on this earth.
Yes. It actually turned out well. I got good reviews.
That's good. Now tell me about these peoples.
Peoples is actually a movie that I watched yesterday with my neighbor Amber.
Peoples.
And it's produced by your favorite person, Tyler Perry. Yes.
I have nothing against the person personally. I don't know the man. Not a fan of his work.
It's okay. The movie is hilarious for those of you who like Tyler Perry stuff.
For those of you morons, you plebeians.
Don't go all Damien Sandow on us.
But I like Damien Sandow.
Damien Sandow is amazing.
So, other than the peoples, the queso dip, the Halloween party, anything else going on?
I watched the coach collapse on national TV.
Yeah, that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
Coaches collapsing. Stuff happening.
Yes.
Well, for me, most of this week was battling the sickness. After I tried to work this new show out with the new update to iMovie, which I can say that Cerebral Conversations is not a fan of.
No.
So that's why last week's episode got out late. So you haven't watched episode 23. You should. I almost collapsed.
You almost.
Yeah, I went to the teach the confirmation children, and I was really struggling. I was coughing really hard, like as we were pulling up, and then I started feeling kind of feverish and nauseous. And got inside. I was sitting down drinking a cup of tea, and then I just started shaking. I almost collapsed myself. I had to get rushed back home. I ate some soup. I whined to my girlfriend. Took some NyQuil and just passed out. And I've pretty much been just in and out of bed all week.
It's always good to have a girlfriend to whine to in situations like this.
Alicia is so good at listening to my whining. She deserves some sort of medal. But she has this theory. I don't know what it is about women and their obsession with fresh air. They're like, go out and get some fresh air, you'll feel better. Keep in mind, it's autumn.
I always heard that too, though.
I know, but it's just okay. So she's like, go out and get some fresh air, you'll feel better all the time. And I'm like, I open up a window. What is the difference? She's like, no, you'll go outside and you'll get sunlight because sun has magical moonbeams. I don't know how the sun would have moonbeams. But anyways, so the thing is that I'm dealing with a sickness trying to travel down into my chest. Me going out in the cold is not going to help it. So this past Saturday, I was involved with the March Against Corruption here in Rockford, which was a small turnout of like, I would say around 20 people. But I don't know if this is a cool fact or more of a sad fact. Only 7 people showed up in DC.
Ouch.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. There's some sort of confusion and something involving InfoWars not showing up. I don't know. I'm not a fan of InfoWars. You know who Alex Jones is?
No, I have no idea.
He's like a white radical conspiracy theorist,
He sounds
radio personality, and he's pretty right wing. Alicia actually brought up a good point that she's like, because I was showing her who Alex Jones is, and she goes, "Why are all like paranoid, like controversial radio hosts white fat men?" And the only explanation I could have is I was like, because they're oppressed, Alicia. Because they're oppressed. Because like you think of any like crazy like right wing talk show host, they're all like fat white men. All of them. They're just like conspiracy, the federal government, which I'm not a fan of the federal government. But they just bring it to this extreme, like, we're oppressed! Ugh!
It does seem true. I mean, you have Rush Limbaugh. Yeah.
Glenn Beck, I mean, he's getting pretty tubby. He's getting pretty tubby. I haven't seen pictures of Michael Savage, but he sounds, you know, like he sounds like he might have a few pounds on him. And I'm not fat shaming here, but what I'm saying is that, like, I think that there's some sort of conspiracy here.
Yes, it's possible.
If anyone is offended by what I just said, I'm not 100% sorry.
And if you are offended, send us an email, and we'll be glad to respond.
Yeah.
Yes.
We actually got another email, which is pretty rare for us, but we're waiting to hear back for permission to use it on the show. So, speaking of the show,
yes, the show. We're going to get to that at some point.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about the importance of platonic relationships.
Yeah, and valuing them.
Yes.
It's something that we've both experienced a lot of confusion about within the community of crippled brothers and sisters.
Yes.
That there seems to be like a lot of just trouble having boundaries and like when is a friend more than a friend
or showing interest,
which I think is a lot of the complexity of the crippled sexual experience.
Yes.
A lot of people often forget that sexuality, a very small portion of it is actually the physical aspect of what you do when you engage in sexuality physically. It's much more a mental and emotional thing. So why don't you share with me a little bit of your experience of platonic relationships and the struggles that you've had maintaining boundaries and things like that?
Well, I've definitely had my fair share of struggles maintaining boundaries in platonic relationships. And a lot of it comes from the fact that I just don't have a lot of experience in romantic relationships. So, for instance, in college, I would often take people being nice to me as them having a romantic interest in me, and I would just become obsessed with the idea, and it wound up driving a lot of my potential friends away because they're like, this guy's crazy, and it wound up causing a lot of problems for me and the other people as far as social life is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I know that for me, it seemed to be that I don't initially come from a place of, oh, I'm crippled. Everyone's probably being nice to me because I'm crippled.
Right.
Like that hasn't always been my natural inclination. So then when a girl comes up to me and she's like, "Hey there, handsome," I don't get it that they're flirting with me
Right.
because because a lot of people, what I found is that they flirt with me because they think that it makes me feel good and they're doing a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't realize, like, no, I take you seriously because I'm a human being.
Right.
But there's also been this trouble that I've had when I was younger. It doesn't happen so much now, especially since I'm dating and I've learned a lot. Is that um, I think that there's so much of a desire to have deep relationship, and not just romantic relationship, but just human interaction overall.
Mm-hmm.
That whenever somebody's nice to you, you're like, oh, so does that make you my girlfriend? Because that's what I really, really want.
Yeah. I think a lot of our crippled brothers and sisters want so badly to have a romantic relationship or just any type of deep emotional relationship that any act of kindness that is not prompted by someone else is on some level taken as interest in that person on some romantic level.
Yeah, and that's not really fair to you, and that's not really fair to the person trying to be friendly with you.
No.
Because you don't value just them as a person, and it kind of becomes this thing of, well, I want to get more from you than what you're actually giving.
Yes.
Um, and there's responsibility on both sides. I think that able-bodied people need to realize is that the average crippled brother or sister does not want pity flirting.
No.
That if you call us things like handsome and good looking and stuff like that, we will take you seriously because we're human beings. I think one of the contributing factors on the side of the crippled brother or sister is the isolation that many of us feel and the lack of people willing to share life with us. Is that we ache for deep connection. We ache for community, and many of us have aspirations to have romantic lives.
Yes.
And it's kind of weird because once again, I think also that social construct of if a crippled person is dating, that means they're more legitimized as an adult and as like a real person.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just have this, well, and so a person will come in your life and you're thinking, is this person it? Is this person the person that I'm going to date and marry and have babies with? Is this person it? Is this person it?
It seems to bring about the completion of personal humanity for a lot of our brothers and sisters.
Yeah, and it kind of becomes the one focus.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I've even realized in my life is, man, do I love the chase of romance and like trying to like So like I'm talking to a friend who's a woman, and we're talking and we're kind of feeling things out, and I'm like asking her what her favorite movie is. I'm asking her what her favorite book is. Every time that she's on Facebook chat and I see it, I get a little excited. It's all of these things, and it becomes and but the really sad part is that I don't approach that person as, man, I really value that person. It's all about, oh man, this could be it. This could be it.
It almost becomes like a conquest if you can like get that person to say that they're interested in you, and after that there's a huge emotional letdown because you're not exactly sure what to do next.
Yeah. And it's hard because many of us struggle with a lot of isolation. Many of us may not have a lot to look forward throughout our daily lives and our days. Some of us um, who may have less physical ability might spend a lot more time in front of the computer, and you're lonely. Um, and it's nice to have somebody to kind of focus your attention on other than all the crap that's going on in your life. And something that I've really noticed, and I've even seen it in myself, is that when I do have close relationships, even on a platonic level, um, I have a tendency to want to kind of manipulate and control the friendship to make sure that I'm getting what I need from them. I mean that has been something that I've really found within myself at certain times, and it's been hard because you just want to make sure that those people stay in your life, and you want to make sure that everything stays stable, and it gets hard. And I think one of the most frustrating things about it is that people need to realize, and this is whether you're a crippled brother or sister or able-bodied brother or sister, is you can't control people and love them at the same time. You can't do that,
Right.
and it's hard.
Um, I would say that my best advice is similar to what CJ said in the fact that you can't control people, and if you value a person for who they are, then the possibility of future romance is much greater than if you looked at them and what they offer as something to achieve rather than something to accept and appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I think a huge thing to address is a lot of the tendency of crippled brothers and sisters to have this sense of entitlement to have someone find them, sexually attractive, or to want to be in a relationship with them. Um, I've talked to a lot of crippled brothers and sisters through the show, and they often want to talk about relational things, which is awesome. I mean, I'm so humbled to share that with our fans, and be a place where they can feel safe to share how they feel. And I talked to one person, and they were talking about how like they're really into this one girl, and that you know uh, she was always nice to this person, even when no one told her to. And then this person also said uh, she knows I have a crush on her, and I said, well, does she have a crush on you too? And she said, no, she just wants to be friends, but I'm trying to make things happen. And I kind of paused the person and I was like, well, then why are you trying to make things happen? Why don't you just enjoy the friendship? And the person was like, well, because they always message me when I'm on Facebook. And I'd be like, well, friends do that. You know, like,
Yeah.
Ron messages me on Facebook. He initiates conversation. That doesn't mean he's like, hey there, good looking.
Right.
And I really want to make it clear that there are a lot of nice guys and girls who are crippled brothers and sisters. And being a nice guy or girl, being a nice man or woman, doesn't entitle you to romance. I know that's hard to hear. It sucks to hear. But it's something that we all need to realize is that um, people deserve to be who they want to be with. So if someone doesn't share feelings with you, that doesn't make them a bad person. Even if they're not attracted to you because of their will, because of your non-conventional body, because you're a crippled brother or sister, understand that they have a right to feel that way. And that sucks. It sucks. But that doesn't make them a bad person. It just means they're not attracted to you. It's it's really the same thing if certain people are attracted to curvy women and not attracted to skinny women. Or curvy guys and skinny dudes. I mean it really doesn't matter. Everyone has certain things that they look for in dating somebody. And it's okay if they don't find you attractive just because you're a nice person.
Yeah. That was hard for me to accept as a younger teenager and things like that. But I would also say that loving someone is not something that everyone deserves. It's something that we should all cherish and rejoice in once we find it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it really comes down to is just cherish the people around us.
Yes.
Whether they're friends, whether they're girlfriends, cherish whoever is in your life.
Yeah.
And don't try to push things. Because that's not love. That's control, and that's really selfishness.
Forcing things never works out the way you think it will when you start to force things.
That's the thing, yeah. Like, I mean, first of all, I very rarely see trying to make a relationship happen work out. And that's whether you're crippled or not. Uh, and the few times that I have, it's never worked out well. Like, it's never been like a really great relationship that's had a lot of lasting love and, I don't think I've ever seen a married couple come, yeah, well, he just he kept chatting me on Facebook, and I kept saying that I want to be friends, and he just kept going. Like, I've heard very few stories of that ever working out, and usually the relationships are terribly unhealthy.
Now, I have heard of persistence paying off, but that is only because of the actual qualities in the person that made the person want to wait until the other person was ready or felt like things had changed. But forcing things never works.
That's right. I have never seen taking away choices empower somebody. Wise words, my friend. So I think that we should wrap up episode 24.
Yes.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. And first off, we want to say that we got an email account where you can say, hey, we disagree with you, which is what we got today.
Yes.
We got like, hey, you're awesome, but, and you can do that. You can throw us your figurative butts at our Gmail account.
Yes.
Which is cerebralconversations@gmail.com.
Yes.
You can also check us out on Facebook.
That's Cerebral Conversations at Facebook.com.
That's right, Facebook.com/cerebralconversations.
Yes.
Also, there's a thing called Twitter.
There is a Twitter.
And we have a handle.
Yes, we do.
What is it?
At Cerebral Convos, I do believe.
At Cerebral Convos. And you can also check out my personal blog, Get Into the Mind of CJ Campbell.
It's a scary place.
It's entitled The Running Search, and you can find it at cjcampbell.com. No, not that. I am not a .com yet. You can find it at cjcampbell.tumblr.com. And how can they get a hold of you?
You can find me at Ron Jackson on Facebook.
That's right. Get in on his vampire game. He's all about it.
Yes.
Okay, so until next time, keep it cerebral.
Peace.